Namaste. This is Michelle Lee, the Corporate Woo Woo, your soul journey guide, and I am very excited to welcome all of you to Cross the Veil in Confidence Module 1. So whether you have been with me for a long time, several years, or you're just getting to know me, whether you've had a private session with me or you've tuned in to some of my videos or read my best-selling books, however it is that you found me, I want to just take a moment and say namaste. Namaste. The spirit in me honors the spirit in you, and it's so lovely to have you here. And so I'm just going to give you a very, very quick understanding as far as the intention of this group, because it feels like this is going to be a very important foundational tool for all of you going forward. And so whether you have recently lost a loved one, or you have a strong soul calling, or you're love to learn and you want to be able to learn how to enhance your intuition even more, whatever it may be for you, understand that wherever you are right now, that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and totally trust that. And so the beautiful thing is that we have this intention that every single one of us are creating together. And the more people who join and the more people who watch, the bigger the intention and the greater the love ball. It's like this big snowball. This love ball just keeps forming. And so just use your breath for a moment, if you will. And allow that breath to go down into the heart and to expand outward. And just imagine for a moment that your intention of this course not only affects you and how it is that you're showing up, but it also affects every person that you now interact with. For you see, when we're operating from a place of intuition, we totally go all in and we're fully trusting our source, our God within us to communicate. People can feel it, can they not? Showing up is really the piece that allows us to be the most confident. So just showing up and being in our body and allowing ourselves to receive is really the biggest gift that we can give to ourselves, because that's when self-trust opens. And trust, as some of you know, can be the most difficult piece. So as we move through, as we set our intentions, let's set our intentions for showing up in the most authentic, loving, and trusting way that we possibly can, so that the world really feels it, so that we feel it, so that we come from a place of hearts, so that our head and our heart and our belly align. And we're going to talk about some of this in detail, but I don't want to talk too much to the left brain today. There's going to be an additional support video that you can watch if you're more of a left brain person, or if you really would like more information. If you're somebody who loves to learn, you're going to want to watch this. It's interactive at some points, and it will actually take you even deeper. So if you find that you're someone who's a little bit more, what they say is heady, and you like to be able to learn, and you want to be able to understand why things work the way they do, you're definitely going to want to watch the additional support video on Module 1. There's a couple things that are going to be important going forward that really are prerequisites. One is that you've already gone through the videos that help you understand the difference between homolateral and cross patterning, so that you know what I mean when I say, let's begin by cross patterning our breath, by looping our breath. You also have a general understanding of what it means to start to center and start to ground. That is also going to be essential. It's important that right now, no matter what you're doing, even if you have to get up and just listen to my voice right now because you need to start moving, it's important that you start to look around and ask yourself, Is the space that I'm in, is it sacred? Because we're going to be bringing in some shamanic journeying, some shamanic work. And it's very important that you create the space in a way that allows you to feel really good about who you are and what you bring to the table. And so let's just begin by not only setting this intention of being our authentic, true self, trusting the information that comes in, also calling in our spiritual team. Many of you have different terms for this, so I want you to first understand that my truth is not going to always resonate with your truth, and that's okay. Please, if I say a word that doesn't resonate, just replace it in your mind with something that does. Also, if we're going through a guided meditation and you are distracted, meaning you all of a sudden decide that, oh, I'm going to drive my vehicle as I listen to Michelle. Not a good idea, okay? As a professional hypnotherapist, I'm certified through the International Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association. It's very important that you understand you cannot be distracted, because I have a tendency to take people deep. I have had astrology reports run on myself, and it showed based on where I am in the zodiac, what time I came in, what time I was born, the date, all of the stuff that lines up. It shows that I've been doing this work for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And so I know intuitively how to move people into a place that goes very, very deep. And for that reason, I must insist that you not be distracted. So as you create your sacred space, look around. I've lit some candles, as you can see behind me. I have a waterfall going. I lit some beautiful Palo Santo and some sage. I made sure that my surroundings are comfortable in terms of temperature and in terms of lighting. I called in my spiritual team. So pause this video and do that for yourself, and then return in a moment, if you will. So, assuming that you pause the video, you set your sacred space, now we're going to begin. And this is about Module 1. And Module 1 is about self-awareness. And it's not only about self-awareness, but it's really starting to feel into your energies in terms of energy bodies. So we have different energy bodies. We have the physical energy body, we have the emotional energy body, we have the intellectual energy body, we have the spiritual energy body. And in the spiritual, we have many different levels of etheric. Now, some of you, this is familiar, and for some of you, this, some of these terms are not quite, you're not quite up to speed, and that's okay. If there's something that I say, again, feel free to pause this video and do a little research if that's something that you prefer to do, if it's going to make you feel safe. As you're going to see in the additional support video, our ego can get a little bit, it can feel a little threatened when we're trying new things. And so we want to make sure that we feel comfortable, that we feel safe, and that we move slow so that we don't have the ego move into self-sabotage. So, first of all, it's important that you tell yourself, I am safe. The power of positive thinking is huge. And when we allow our thoughts to move in the direction of positive thinking, then amazing things can happen, because we are a co-creator of our reality. And this doesn't mean that we control everything outside of us. It doesn't mean that if you just lost a loved one that it was your fault because you somehow created that. Now, from a spiritual perspective, some would argue that there are soul contracts, and that in some cases you did kind of agree to have the loved one leave when they did. It was a soul contract between you, and that's, up for discussion, up for debate, depending on your truth. It's important that you understand as a human, though, because we are this spiritual being having this human experience. So as the human, it's very natural to feel and to question and to wonder and to be curious. We've been given not only the intellect, we've been given lots of feelings. And so as we move through this course, you're going to start to feel things stir up. Things are going to start to be stirred. You're going to start to look at the world differently. You're going to get more curious. And as that happens, if you move too quickly, the ego is going to start doing whatever it can do to move you back into comfort zone. And so for some of you, that means this is stupid, this is dumb. How long do we have before we can get our money back? Maybe you should do that now. This is going to be the time in the first couple modules where your ego's really going to dig its heels in, because it doesn't like change. The ego likes things to be the same. It likes comfort. It likes to be able to predict. And I'm going to be talking about that in that support video in much more detail. So I really would encourage you, if you haven't yet watched it, that you go back and you watch that and you start to do some of the breath work and you go through the breath work before we proceed. Because I'm about to take you deep. And it's important that as we move into this deep first module experience, that your ego knows it's all of its questions are answered. It feels safe. So presuming that you have done that, let's now take a few deep breaths. The breath, as you know, connects us to spirit, the spirit of who we are. That spirit is us having the experience, that human experience, as we are in this lifetime, in this particular form. I, as a spirit, Michelle Lee, showing up, born Michelle Lee Skaletski-Boyd, and I'm having the experience as me. My spirit is showing up with this personality, with this gender, with these particular soul contracts, with people in my life, with this particular mission. The soul is that bigger picture. So whether you believe in reincarnation, past lives, recycled energy, call it what you will, it's been proven that everything is energy. And so we have different pieces in us that sometimes feel like deja vu, that sometimes feel like we've been here before. And so what is that about? It's the bigger soul. It is that ability to go into the oversoul position where we're overlooking the spirit, we're looking down on ourselves, and we start to connect all of the experiences. Again, call them what you will, past life, call them karmic replays, call them repatterns, call them whatever you will, but from an oversoul position, from a mind-body-spirit integration, when we begin to look down at our life and we see the pattern and we see where it is that our life is going, things can be very, very wonderful in so many ways. So as you focus on your breath, as you move into your intention of becoming more self-aware, of being this spiritual being, of being God, having a human experience as you in this moment, begin to enjoy the experience, as I like to say. Continuing to take some nice deep breaths. In a moment, I'm going to begin to do that with you. For now, just make sure that as we begin, you keep your feet flat on the floor. In the event that you haven't gone through any of the breathing exercises, I will just mention we want to keep the feet flat on the floor, especially for these first couple modules. There will come a point where you will be able to lie down comfortably, but for now, especially if you're more of a clairvoyant and you like to visualize things and you have that ability to see, which is really the exercise that we're going to focus on today, along with clairsentient, which is the ability to feel the energy moving through you. We're going to really start to awaken clairsentient and clairvoyancy in this experiential meditation. And so as you're visualizing, it can be helpful to stay seated with your feet flat on the floor, because as we start to spiral the breath, you can envision and feel exactly what it is that I'm guiding you to move into without feeling threatened and without having your left brain saying, "What? What is she doing? I don't understand." Because if you're lying down and your feet are sticking out, it's hard to spiral the breath sometimes if we haven't done it before. So feet flat on the floor. I'm doing it with you now. Some nice deep breaths. I like to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Do what works for you. Begin to spiral the breath, starting with the top of the head and moving down to the feet. For those of you who need a visualization, that would be head to shoulder to hip to knee down to the foot. It's a little bit different. But we want to be able to not give the left brain a pattern that feels familiar. Again, this is about moving out of comfort zone each and every time. So we want to switch it up. Okay? So let's start from the top of the head. And just as a friendly reminder, as you're focusing on your breath, remember not to be in the tower of your head, but rather allow the breath to move you and allow it to move all the way through you, so that it's not just in the front of you, but you can also feel it moving through you to the back of you as well. So take your time with this. We're going to spend a good couple minutes on this. So let's do that. And when I feel intuitively guided, I'm going to have you move into a deeper meditation where we're opening up the clairvoyancy and the clairsentient. For now, just focus on the breath. Remember, you can break some rules now. We don't have to go shoulder to hip to knee. Sometimes that gives the left brain too much power. Just loop the breath wherever it feels good to loop it. It really doesn't matter. We're going to start to remove the rules now. As long as you have a feel for how it works, begin to loop the breath deeper and deeper. Allowing the breath to lead you, keeping your eyes closed. Noticing where the breath is taking you. And rather than observing from the tower of your head, being one with the breath, noticing how it even patiently waits for you to become one with it. There. Deeper and deeper. As you're doing this, you're going to feel like your body is all one energy. In other words, there won't feel like much distance between the top of your head and the bottom of your feet, and that's wonderful. You might not even be able to tell the difference between the front half of you and the back half, and that's good. It's all one energy. Looping and allowing the breath to lead you. Now we're going to begin to bring in any color that wants to reveal itself right in the middle of your forehead. right in the area that they call the third eye. Whatever color's coming in, just notice it. It might be a variety of colors. Just allow it to present itself. And notice if there's a shape or a movement, perhaps even a smell, maybe a sound. And notice how the left brain wants to give it a description, wants to identify with what it is. Just be aware of how the left brain does that. And this isn't about shutting the left brain off. It's about honoring whatever the left brain interprets and then quickly letting it go. Saying to yourself, yes, it's possible that might be a XYZ, whatever it is. Letting it go and allowing the next color or image to come in. Letting it go. This is about practicing letting go without the need to give it a name, without the need to interpret it or call it something, without the need to give it a story. So in other words, just allowing the sights, the color, the sensation to move through that third eye, beginning to open. Now, for some of you, as you're doing the breath work, as you're allowing the color to come in, you may get what feels like a big eye staring back at you. You may not. If this occurs, I want you to know that's just confirmation from your higher self, letting you know that your third eye is wide open. In fact, as I speak, I can feel some of you are now getting that eye coming in. That's just the third eye, letting you know I'm awake. I'm open. In fact, if you're seeing the eyelid closed or sleeping, just gently allow it. This isn't about forcing. This is just recognizing that it's there, honoring it with that deep namaste. You're saying namaste to yourself, to your higher self. You're honoring who you are, honoring your soul. Now we're going to open up the clairsentient just a bit in this third eye area. Opening up the head, the intellect, allowing the integration of the hemispheres of the brain to begin to work together. And so I want you to imagine between the two hemispheres of the brain, there's a thin little line, and that line is a very important line. I'd like for you to imagine that it's like a bridge. Use your third eye, use your imagination. Rather than move out of the tower of your head and go up into the brain itself, just stay in the third eye and just create for yourself a bridge. And we're just going to allow that bridge to be that beautiful area of the brain that connects the two hemispheres. And that bridge is the bridge that connects the intuition to the intellect. It's the bridge that allows us to move through the world of imagination into the world of intuition. It's the bridge that allows us to bring with the experience understanding. Where you see, if we don't bring left brain along at all, then we go out there. We become so woo-woo that when we come back, we have no words. And when we have no words or no concept or no understanding, it can be a little difficult because we get a little bit anxious. We say, boy, that was beautiful, but I'm not sure what to do with it. And so for some of you, there's too many thoughts. And for others of you, there's this surreal energy, the color, the sensation that occurs, but you're not sure what to do with it. So either way, whether there's so many thoughts or there's so much color and sensation, I'd like for you to stay on the bridge. Just be on the bridge. Some people call this the rainbow bridge. And as I say that, some of you are smiling because you could feel the rainbow. Some of you are now picking up the rainbow and all the colors. Just stay there for a while. So we're just going to hang out here for a little longer, awakening the third eye, awakening this beautiful bridge between the hemispheres of the brain, opening up the portal of intuition, honoring and saying namaste to the higher self. And in between each module, there's some soul exercises. And really it's about you following your intuition in terms of where you feel you'd like to stretch to a little more. So if you have a lot of intellect going on, then you're going to want to practice being on this bridge and allowing the color and the sensation to open. If you're already a little out there and you're having difficulty putting concept or understanding to the experience, then you're going to want to go back and listen to the additional support video and put some context, some logic, and some wisdom behind what it is you're doing so your left brain can start to awaken, so it can label things for you later on and allow you to interpret. So we have a mix of you, and that's okay. That's the beautiful thing about the group. You're all going to balance each other out. The yin, the yang, the intellect, the sensation, all of it will come together and synchronize and harmonize. So between now and module 2, there's a little bit of a shorter time span. And the reason why is because this is just a warm-up. This is just a chance for you to begin to get to feel my energy, the pace, and to begin to awaken and stir those energies. Remember, we want to go a little slower, right? And so when you're actually in the experience of being in the bridge, or you're in the experience of the breath work with the other supporting videos, make sure that you go slow. The important piece is that you're consistent, that you set a sacred space for yourself, that you honor yourself, that you have some type of what some would call a ritual, that it's some type of an honoring, that you create some type of a space that your left brain knows what's going to happen. It feels familiar, it feels safe. We're going to light the candle now. We're going to put on our favorite slippers or our favorite robe. We're going to turn the lights down in a certain way. We're going to turn the water fountain on. We're going to light a little Palo Santo, a little sage, whatever it may be. This is a time for you. Your soul called to you, and it's important that you follow through, because self-awareness moves into self-trust. And self-trust is really beginning now. We're setting the stage for self-trust through self-awareness. And so whatever promises that you begin to make to yourself, such as I'm going to be able to set time aside once a week or twice a week or every day, whatever it is, make sure that you can follow through on your promise and you stay consistent, because you're building the foundation of self-trust for yourself, and your word is going to be everything in terms of following through and commitment. So in other words, if you say, I'm going to be doing every morning when I wake up, I'm going to set my alarm early, or I'm going to do this right before bed. Now, I have a couple tips on that, by the way. If you have kiddos, like I have a kiddo, and this child is getting you up in the morning, whether for school or it's just what time they wake up, it can be difficult because you have an intention of getting up prior to the kid, and then the kid decides, oh, mom or dad is up and they want to be up too. And so it can be a little bit more challenging to do the meditation in the morning, even though that's when you're probably the most fresh. And so make sure that whatever you come up with, that you can be consistent with it. So for me, it's having an understanding now with my child. Hey, you are gonna get your bed made when you first wake up. You're gonna go potty. You're gonna, get dressed. All of this ahead of time, and then we can have a conversation. And so that's my meditation time then in the morning. For some of you, it's not going to be the case. And so you're going to need to be a little more creative, maybe after the kiddo goes to school, or maybe after when they're taking a nap, or when it's time for bed. The thing about meditation is that if you're tired, if you are in this place of, I'm just going to crawl into bed, it's almost bedtime, and you're going to sit up. Okay, Michelle said my feet are supposed to be on the floor, but that's how am I going to do that with a bed, right? Maybe I'll just kind of half be here. I'll just, maybe kind of sit up with my feet on the bed, hug a pillow. If you do that, you're telling your body, I'm in bed and I'm tired. And so what happens? Right? And so really make sure that if you choose to do it in the evening, that you're not in your bedroom in your bed. That's my tip for you, because you are most likely going to fall asleep. I'm not saying that it's always the case, but most times it is going to be the case. And this is about you. This is about honoring you. So between now and the next module, follow your truth in terms of wherever it is you need to be stretched a little more. In other words, we don't want to stay in our comfort zone and do things that continue to build our confidence. You'll hear me say in one of the additional support videos, you're going to hear me say, yes, build your confidence by doing things that give you that feeling of being good at something. And yes, you want to do that for a while, but you also want to stretch yourself. So go out of your comfort zone a little bit, slowly though, not real fast. Just make sure that you mix it up. Don't keep doing things that you're comfortable with. Mix it up a little bit by moving out of your comfort zone, so that come module 2, when we dive even deeper into the experience, you're completely ready for it. So I'm honored that you're here. I look forward to our next several modules with you. And until we meet again, enjoy the experience. Namaste, guys. Bye-bye.